I'm Jeff Meyer.
I'm Michele Rehm, and we're with Star One Realty.
And what is this one called, Michele?
This is our fun one called Talking
Real Estate with Jeff and Michele. And we're going to talk a little bit about 3% total commissions.
Making a noise?
What noise? Oh no, this one won't do it because it's not big enough.
Okay.
It's not big enough. This one is called the 3% total commission. We're only going to talk about it for a minute because we found the buyer. We just closed on a house the other day on Brindlewood in wow, listen to this chair squeak.
I know, I hear it sometimes when I'm doing
it. And we closed on Fairway Oaks, the preserve.
Yes, the preserve.
What a nice guy he was. Called us up, said, Jeff, sell my house. We did. And we just finished doing Market Update, which was about, 2 minutes, 3 minutes?
It's not long.
It's not long, but
it basically just tells what's going on.
But we wish Tyler, her oldest son, happy birthday. Tyler and Jeff, my oldest son, are going to be 31. Tyler turns 31 today. My boy turns 31 in about a month. And they were in kindergarten. They've been friends since kindergarten.
I can't believe.
Well, I'm not going to say anything, but I'm still in my 40s.
I know.
Yes. Don't I look good?
You do.
Yes. Yes. Anyway.
And I'm in my 20s then.
We're very happy. The other day we showed you, I should have hit this one out. We had 6,200 and some people.
What?
We had 6,200 and some change on our that have signed up for the website. Now we're
6,322.
Now we're at 6,322. So it grows a little bit every week. It goes up a little bit.
And on Saturday, Tyler sends out an email to all of them what listings that are new listings, and then so that way everybody knows.
I think this week we put 6 new in the paper.
6 new ones.
Yeah, well, they went there. Wow.
And we're closing 3 this week.
They're from Tahitian Gardens all the way to, we listed the one on Deventer, which is in either Berkeley or Barrington Woods. So we're covering the whole county, which we always have been doing for over 22 years.
And they're all priced very well.
Yeah,
they're all nice houses.
They're all within the range.
And even, a listing in downtown Newport Richey, which that's the new hot spot in West Pasco. They're putting a lot of money down there.
A lot of people are fixing up their houses down there. They're looking at the one on Washington Street. That's spelled, to most people, Washington. But if you've been following us or for the longest time, there's an R in Washington.
If you're from Southwest Ohio.
Yeah, it's
my father used to say,
Washington.
You're going to wash the car.
W-A, and when I send this to Mary Ann,
on the car.
We wash the car, it's W-A, and I put a capital R, S-H-I-N-G-2-N. That is a nice house. Tell a little bit about that house while we're just talking.
So the one in downtown Newport Richey, actually they used it for income property. It was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath main house, and the apartment next door to it, pretty much, are they attached, or it's kind of like, they're kind of adjacent. Anyway, that is a 1-bedroom, 1-bath efficiency. They have a huge carport, and then the efficiency has its own carport. Also, there is room for an RV, and there's a fence. So what I did was, once I had we got it on the market and all, I texted one of my friends, Mike and his wife, and said, hey, you might be interested in this one. So it's priced really well. Really well, because they're just ready to go home to Missouri, and
there's a lot of people that are
they're not giving it away, but they priced it so it could sell.
Anyway, so what do you want to talk about today? Let's see. We got the TV commercials.
Yep.
We're on Bay News 9.
Yep.
We're on the back page of the Suncoast News, which everybody knows that's 88,000 and some change. That goes out a week.
Yep.
We've been there for 20. I might have to look at it.
I think it's like 21 years.
20 or 21.
Might be 22, because I remember in the early days we used to go over to the Suncoast News when it was on the corner of Main and 19.
Yep. Now it's whatchamacallit College, and we would turn, because that's when we used to have to drive around. In fact, Michele is writing a book. Let's talk about that for a second.
Okay. So I decided about a week or two ago, You know, because you and I have talked about it a million times. You know, we should write a book because, I mean,
there's a lot that happens in
there's
our
a
world.
lot of stuff that happens, and it's funny. So so the other day, I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And so I started writing a book. Now, my mom is an author, and she just published a book in December.
Yep.
And she's self-published, and she sells on Amazon poetry, and you know, sometimes she writes some books that are like romance books, which is kind of bizarre. I can hardly read them because, you know, your mom's writing it.
Her mom writes some exotic books.
Well, her friend.
Yeah, I know, helps.
But anyway. So the book I'm writing is about the last 22 years that Jeff and I, you know, from when I retired school teaching up to, I'm still writing up to today. But how I'm approaching it is a lot by the technology of today. And so today, what we wanted to talk about was, the first thing I put in was the GPS in the mapping, because when Jeff and I first started going on listing appointments,
we'd get lost.
Yeah, we would get lost a lot, and they would give us a folder. I remember, and they give him the blue folder with a printout of the map.
With the directions.
And you bought these maps you could buy them at a 7-Eleven, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had.
And it was a book.
It was like a flip book.
It was a book. When they would copy that side or that, but I'm telling you, if the house was in the middle,
we were in trouble.
We were in big trouble, and they'd take their green marker and with the route for us to get.
Everybody thinks that real estate is like it is today, but
yeah.
When I got started, we had a book that we got once a month with pages that you added to it, and only the office had a computer.
And that's another chapter is the MLS. We're not doing that today.
We're not,
today
but
we're
I'm
going to
just
stay
share.
with the GPS.
I know, but it was the office had a computer. You weren't allowed to have the MLS at home. In fact, when I got into the
nobody
business,
had computers.
Nobody had computers back then.
I mean, we did, but Bruce was a computer. That was his degree.
Well, that was his world.
Yeah, but
I mean, I know how to turn mine on and push the button. but let's talk GPS for a second.
Right.
So anyway, back in the day, the GPS was Michele, and then when we got lost,
that was job security.
Because a lot of people, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but a lot of the neighborhoods that we service, the roads actually change names without changing the road.
Yes, anyone who's been in Beacon Woods.
Oh yeah,
my first day, he sent me to do something like get a lockbox or put a lockbox on, and it was dusk. And you know, I had a phone then, because I'm thinking I was calling. I'm calling the first day. I'm yelling at you on the phone that I'm lost. It was dark.
Yeah.
I couldn't find it.
Where am I at? So I don't have a clue.
Yeah, he did.
I said, "Where are you by the pawn shop?" And she goes, "Yes, well, you're at the wrong place."
But yeah, we would.
Well, there's a road in Beacon Woods.
Yeah.
That's actually
when
6 or 7 roads, and you can go all the way around.
You got wagon wheel that turns into
the split rail or whatever. They all change
names. It's like a spider.
And you can have a listing. Remember that one day we had a listing on this street. And we had the listing on the house next door, and it was on another street, and they were neighbors.
Yep.
And the only difference was there was
that was wagon wheel.
That was wagon wheel.
Because if you go to the left, I'm trying to think, I can't remember.
And then if you go, Timber Oaks is the same way.
Ponderosa turns into Timber Oaks.
Yep. And then
it's a circle, another circle.
Winding Wood is one of those streets. It's I can't remember. There's 1, 2, 3 or 4 streets on Winding Wood. And
that's crazy.
But that's just crazy.
But
we had a good time. She started with it. And she read me the first, basically summary of the first chapter, and oh my gosh.
I know, and it's so fun because we're walking down memory lane as far, but like I said, there was no GPS. Basically,
no GPS.
I would read the map to Jeff, and if we couldn't find it, then we would call Bruce. And Bruce would get on Google Maps, because at the beginning, that's what Google was about. It didn't have all the data and all, but Google Maps. Then he would tell us, okay,
go
here, and he would get us there.
And we'd still get lost.
We would
but
get
we were
lost.
still on time.
But we always had to leave early. Like, he still thinks we need to leave a half hour early, even though the car is going to get us there in 10 minutes. Because, but sometimes we get a little cocky and don't put it in.
I'd rather be early. Now I got the newer Cadillac, and we just type in the address, and it says you'll be there in 7 minutes, 15 minutes. Well, everybody knows you'll have it. 7 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And then the nice thing is like if we go to see somebody like yesterday and they call us in 5 months when they're ready to sell, I just have to type in the name of the street, like Wagon Wheel, and it'll bring up 1 or 2 addresses, and I just have to push it. So now it's a lot
That's
easier.
how we know if we've been there before, because you'll put the address in and
Yeah.
it'll come up and like, why does it know that? But then,
Where are we going? We're going somewhere tomorrow. We were there 3 months ago or 4 months
Yeah.
ago, and she called up and said, okay, I'm ready to list my house, come out and see us.
yep.
So we're going there tomorrow. But yeah, so she's writing this book. So I'm going, how incriminating is this gonna be? Because back in the day, even though we listed a lot of houses, it was interesting
Yeah.
in our wonderful world of the
Well,
silver Cadillacs.
And we were talking about, as far as technology goes, is the telephone is a big, that's another chapter
Well, that's
talking about the
huge.
telephone. And at the very beginning, we had a pager.
Mhm.
And the office would basically send Jeff a page,
Yep.
that kind of thing. And, he would go and do it. And Jeff basically, I'd meet him up here around 10 and we would be on the road all day and they would just send us pages.
And a lot of times back then, because your phone was on minutes or you couldn't drive and talk on your phone, it was just easier to stop at a 7-Eleven and put in a quarter and call
you
them.
were saying that you had like a bag. How
Had a
was
bag
it? A
of-
quarter or was it dimes?
Let's go with quarters. We'd have a bag of quarters, and we knew where every 7-Eleven was because we'd get a beep, and I'd go, okay, we pull in, because if we were talking on the phone to somebody, we'd just get cut off. And you can't get cut off talking to a client about
No.
anything.
I don't remember using the phone to talk to clients.
I remember
Till
going down.
recently.
I remember going down Little Road and getting cut off all the time.
Probably because
and-
the towers weren't.
Yeah,
as
the
good
towers
then.
were, and we'd
And
throw
maybe it seems like I always had Verizon, but I don't think Verizon's been around 22 years.
No, I don't
Maybe they were, but they were something before they were phones.
But I got lucky because
GTE.
all of Michelle's kids. Well, now Tyler's 31, so he was what, 9 at the time. Zach's now 20.
He'll be 25 next month.
25 next, the 15th. He's 25, so he was like 2. So all those kids grew up knowing everything.
Yep.
So whenever I needed to know something, either Michelle knew it or we.
He still calls Zach to come over and fix his computer.
Well, yeah, because it gets messed, and it doesn't get messed up as it used to. It used to just turn itself off, and it never could turn it on.
The Apples tend to be more user friendly, but the
what
phone was some. I got a whole thing on the phones, and then the
So
GPS.
we're going to talk about real estate for just a minute. The wonderful world of real estate last year, from January through May, give or take, was probably, other than let's say from June of the year before to June, was the hottest year ever.
I remember.
I mean, we'd list the house on a Monday, we'd put it on the market on a Thursday, and I was negotiating a contract Thursday afternoon. And it was literally, our days on the market were phenomenal. But yet houses still didn't sell.
We were like in 3 days.
We were like 3 days because it took that long to put it under. Then in May, and if you watch our podcast from back in March, April, and May, when the market started to change, and Michelle tracks the numbers every week. If you just watched Market Update, you know that. We're watching these numbers change, and I'm going to Michelle, are you going to call the change? Are you going to call the change? And she didn't. I said this about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and she didn't call the change. And then finally, we were talking before we did the video, because we do this, we don't have really notes or anything. And I said, Michelle, you got to call it, because I want you to be the first in the country to call it. 'Cause these people, they didn't know what they're talking about. Oh, it's going to crash, it's going to do this. So Michelle came on like May or June of last year and said, the market is changing.
Right.
Not changed, changing. And then I think all these people watch our video, because our podcast, because like a month later, all CNN and NBC and because the National Association of Realtors were putting out the numbers, and the numbers were changing. But they're always 2 to 3 months behind.
Yep.
So she called it, so we were able to adjust, and we adjust quickly because they weren't going up, they were leveling off. So if anybody wanted to list their house at 10 or 20% over, they were just going to sit, and that's why we have 1,100 and something houses
Yeah.
on the market, and about
I'm still a firm believer if people price their house
we see it.
correctly. Like here's the thing, I did do the analyze the whole year, and the market changed in August, and it changed drastically in August. July was the biggest closing month that we've had, pretty much anyone had, and then boom,
It just stopped.
It just stops, and it has a lot to do with the raising of the Fed.
Yeah,
but still, and then people didn't know what to do, and that kind of thing. But we were still selling houses, but I could see that the prices had leveled off. The bidding wars ended
like in one day.
Yeah, they were just like,
we would have investors.
I would call an investor.
We would have investors that we could list your house today, and Michelle we had 4 or 5 investors that we were primarily 2 that were industrial investors. In other words, they were companies buying houses. We'd list the house for $250 and they'd buy it for $260, and we'd close in 25, 30 days. The people were tickled to death. And then all of a sudden one day we listed a gorgeous house, I think in Bear Creek on the corner. Was that Wolf Den? I think it was Wolf Den. We listed it, figured it would be gone in a week, and Michelle calls our investors up and he said, no, we're done.
We're done.
Because there was a
It
price
actually
point.
ended at 250, not 2, you had said 260,
250?
but they stopped at like 250.
Because there was a magic number where the rents and the price that they were paying for the house crossed, and they couldn't pay anymore because they couldn't get the rents to feed their numbers.
Exactly. And we were talking about that the other day, that the rents kept going up till they're about $2,000.
Right.
Which we figured at, okay, well at $250, if they bought the house at $250, they put the rent at $2,000, in 2 years, they now have,
yeah, they're all caught up.
They're caught up. They're now
with
going to start making
Right.
money. So they couldn't go over because the rents weren't going to go any higher.
Yeah, and then you saw
$2,500.
where people were still buying the houses. They were putting the money in it. They were putting the house on the market for $2,700 or $2,800. Now they're sitting.
Yeah.
Because those were the investors that didn't know
Right.
what they were doing. And
But-
not literally, but 80% of people that get into flip, buy house, are out.
And the
They
flippers
get
never ceased to amaze me, and they still till today. They're still wanting to basically steal houses, 80%. I shouldn't
know.
say that, but they do. They want to take these houses and be like, oh, the market crashed. What are these people
They
crazy?
call us up and they go, the house is.
They should take that. I'm
We
like,
have
they're
a
priced
house that
correctly.
probably has 8 or 10 offers on it, not at the same time, but we've got 8 or 10, and they're like 100,000 less than what they're asking. We go, well, listen, if they were going to take 100,000, why don't we just reduce it 40, which makes it under what the value is, and sell it to somebody?
Mhm.
Oh, you would do that? Well, yeah, because
Who wouldn't?
who wouldn't do that?
But I mean, the thing is we don't take listings that are 100,000 overpriced. And so it's just very annoying. But
well, let me tell a quick story before I put up what our days on the market are. We went on a couple appointments in the past month or so, 10 days. And we went on one the other day, and the house comped it to about 360.
Mm-hmm.
This was yesterday.
Mhm.
House comped at 360, and he
actually,
said
379,
379, and he said, I want to list it at
750.
750. We went on one, so he's 300,000 overpriced. We went on one in Trinity that was 650, give or take. And they said, we fill in all the paperwork, we get everything done, we're home.
They're at 6.25.
They were at 6.25, and they listed for 675.
That's where it comped, was 6.25.
And they listed for they bumped it to 650.
By the time we got home to put it in the system,
it was 675.
And
then we listed it. Then he called me up and said, well, we want to be at 679.9. And I said, well, don't expect many calls. And he said, why not? They can show the house and make us an offer.
Mm-hmm.
I said, no one's going to come because you're $50,000 overpriced.
Yeah.
And everybody thinks that people are just showing. When there's 1,100 houses on the market, and you can go on Realtor.com and look at the house, and you can say, and you're a buyer, and you're looking at, let's say, you've already looked at 3 or 4 or 5, the number doesn't matter, and a new house comes on the market and falls into that price range, let's say 350, but it's really worth 275, you as a buyer know that.
Right.
And you're not going to go look at it because the sellers aren't going to come down $75,000. They're just not.
And a lot of people want to go by square footage when it works for them.
Yeah.
But then they don't want to go by square footage when it's for real.
Yeah.
So I did a little run, and I did a whole county from Hudson to Holiday, Trinity, Newport Richey, Port Richey, and we're at about 204 square foot is what the average 3-bedroom or up to 250 house is the median. So most of the houses around 250 are the sweet spot for everyone.
Yeah.
And it's about 204. So if you're priced 204 or less, you just need that right buyer. But if you're going over,
yep.
Anyway.
3% total commission. We have the buyer. We're doing it all the time.
Yep.
And our market time, I believe, we're still under 21 days.
Oh, definitely under 21 days.
We're under 21 days. The average on the market right now
is, I have that. Hold on.
Is we have that.
Yeah.
Michelle will pull that up because she knows what it is. Is this sign? This maybe need a new sign there.
I don't know.
21 days, and we're doing good because we got. I think we got 8 more closing this month, or 9, and they're all under 21 days.
Okay.
46, 48, I think. 32.
Our average days right now for pendings are 13 days.
Okay, 13.
And I don't have our solds because we're in a new year and
That's
all.
okay. That doesn't matter yet.
Yeah,
we're not into
13 days.
What's the market in the county? I think it's 48. 48 or 49. Deb, my wife said that 22 houses expired on Monday. I don't know how many expired on Tuesday, but a lot of people reduced their price on Tuesday. It was like 40-something people reduced their price on Tuesday.
I don't have that, but next week I'll bring days
We'll
on
update
market.
you on that. Anyway, this has been, what has this been, Michelle? This
is called
Talking Real Estate with Jeff and Michelle. And the reason
Star's doing great. She got a haircut, and so now she looks like she's this big. I'll have to put a picture up of her.
But we got to get her on here next week.
I know, but she has very short hair.
Very short hair.
And she's feisty. We have that new puppy,
she's
and
the boss.
She is the boss.
Oh, let's tell everybody what happened at Christmas real quick.
Okay.
So we're going out to see my daughter and Clayton. They live in Kansas City. Go Chiefs. Not really, because we're still playing football. So we fly out to Kansas City. So I said to Michelle, can you please watch Ginger? Oh, we just love Ginger. So when did we drop her off? You picked her up?
The couple days before Christmas. So
it was like Thursday
25, 24, 23, 22.
Anyway.
I got her on the 22nd.
And then we got delayed out in Kansas on Monday. We're driving to the airport. Clayton calls up and says our flight's canceled. We had to stay until the following Thursday, or the following Saturday. We flew home on New Year's Eve. And you don't have to worry, because if I'm not here, Michelle can handle it. If Michelle's not here, I can handle it. We both know what we're doing. And you'd think after 3,200 houses, we'd have the hang of it.
Yeah, we got it.
So Deb was actually nervous, so Michelle and her family are keeping an eye on Ginger.
Ginger stayed at the farm.
Pictures. They're sending us pictures and all this
stuff. And
she's ripped up the penguin. She's very happy, and we're going, I wonder if she's going to want to come home with us.
I know, I was thinking that.
So Sunday morning, we're going to drive over and pick up Michelle.
You're picking me up?
We pick you up all the time. pick up Ginger. So we pull into the parking lot, into the driveway, and here comes Ginger walking out on a leash, but she doesn't look real happy to see us.
Oh.
Well, she
that's
had that.
Not true.
No, she had that. Then she goes, "Oh, I get to go home." Then she's pulling on the thing and comes over, and we pet her, and we're all happy. And it took her till Monday to get acclimated with taking naps.
She had to rest.
She had to rest because she was very busy at your house.
She was busy at my house.
She was very busy, and she wasn't as spoiled as she is at our house.
Is that right?
She's very spoiled at our house.
Okay.
She's got a place.
They're all spoiled at my house.
All spoiled.
But
anyway, so that was the market, talking real estate with Jeff and Michelle. Not a lot of people watch it on the podcast, so if you could click on and watch it, that'd be great.
Like and subscribe.
We send it out to a lot of people. I think we're at 70. Mary, I gotta tell you a cute story. So Mary, my daughter, says, Dad, I watched the podcast the other day on when you sold that house for 3% and it took like 4 minutes. I said, oh, we call that Zach's podcast, Zach's video.
Mhm.
It's where it's the lifestyle, it's the life of one
Life
of
of the
our.
listing.
She goes, I'd never seen that before. And we shot that like.
Thousands of people have watched that one.
Yeah, we shot it like 4 years ago.
Mhm.
I said, Marianne, you got to start watching our podcast. And she says, well, you do so many. I said, we only do 2 or 3 a week.
Mhm. We haven't done it for a while.
Yeah, because it was Christmas.
Well, it was
and all
Christmas and
that. You know,
you
anyway.
know.
Well, let's wrap this up. You want to wrap it up?
We're gonna
You
wrap
wrap
it
it up? You wrap it up.
we'll talk to you guys next week. I'm Michelle.
I'm Jeff. Sold $32 million worth of houses last year.
We'll talk
Thank
to you
you.
next
We'll
week.
see you. I like to brag.
He's a bragger.
I'm a bragger. Thank you.